you? It's been a minute. And actually, this is my first reading vlog. And I have books. Who's got books? Who's got books? First books. I do. I have been getting so many books lately. I'm actually scared. I'm scared, but excited because I'm building my book collection. I have a lot of self-development books, but then I also have a lot of books for my profession, which is, I have a dual profession, but it goes hand in hand, which is graphic design and personal styling. And look, my books have arrived. So I've got Gary Vaynerchuk, Crush It, which I have gotten 2 recommendations to get this book, so it's gonna be a really quick short read, hopefully. I also have the, this is pretty like gross, I'm gonna have to rinse this off. It's the Stacey London and Clinton Kelly Dressed Your Best. I already have it, but I need to clean this. I'm getting grossed out. This is probably the first thrifted book that's come like with, I don't know what the heck is on it, so I'm gonna clean it off. I have this book already, but it's pretty much like torn to pieces. Not torn to pieces, but it's already, it's not in the condition that I want it to be in. So who else keeps baby wipes or keeps Clorox wipes to clean off their used books? I wish we could clean inside of them. Dress Your Best by Stacey Clinton and Stacey London and Clinton Kelly from What Not to Wear, which was actually one of my favorite shows in the early 2000s. They actually inspired me to be who I am today. Then I also got Whatever You Think the Opposite, and this is from Paul Arden, which I am so excited about because as I am a graphic designer, someone autographed it, or this was a gift to someone. But this looks brand new. I wonder if they even used it. But I love it because Paul Arden was one of the top people in his fields for advertising, and so this book is basically inspired by his profession, but it's like a self-improvement book. But if you look inside, like if you're really into graphic design and art, it's just a beautiful book because I've worked in advertising before, so I think it's gorgeous. Okay, so what other books did I have? Oh, then I've got It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be. This is like a series, and then he also has Damn Good Advice, I believe. Yeah, so I want to get that one, but I spent so much on books already. I recently picked up this Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, so I'm like out of my mind because, no, I'm completely in my mind. I'm in my mind. So I'm just overwhelmed because I've taken on the challenge of doing November nonfiction. And I already read a lot of nonfiction, but I really want to participate in November nonfiction. And I'm just thinking to myself, if I do November nonfiction, then you know what? I'm going to meet my library book goal. I had to take a bunch of library books back because I didn't even get to them, but these are the books that I want to read for November nonfiction. I know I'm gonna do a full-on video, but I figured I'd just show you guys. I want to read Paco, Underhill, What Women Want, Real Artists Don't Starve, and this is by Jeff Goings. Hey, So I'm reading a page or two in the It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be, the world's best-selling book by Paul Arden. And he said something that was a bit interesting. It says, the headline is, it's wrong to be right. It's right to be wrong. It's right to be wrong. So start being wrong and suddenly, okay, well, I want to read this to you, so I'm going to read. Start being wrong and suddenly anything is possible. You're no longer trying to be infallible. You're in the unknown. There's no way of knowing what can happen. But there's, oh, this is right. This is the wrong page, sorry. I was right. No pun intended. But it's wrong to be right. So being right is based upon knowledge and experience and is often provable. Knowledge comes from the past, so it's safe. It is also out of date. It's the opposite of originality. Experience is built from solutions to old situations and problems. The old situations are probably different from the present ones, so that old solutions will have to be The old situations are probably different from the present ones, so that old situations will have to be bent to fit new problems, and possibly fit badly. Also, the likelihood is that if you've got the experience, you'll probably use it. This is lazy. Experience is the opposite of being creative. If you can prove you're right, you're set in concrete. You cannot move with the times or with other people. Being right is also being boring. Your mind is closed. You're not open to new ideas. You are rooted in your own rightness, which is arrogant. Arrogance is a valuable tool, but only if used very sparingly. Worst of all, being right has a tone of morality about it. To be anything else sounds weak or fallible, and people who are right would hate to be thought fallible. So, it's wrong to be right because people who are right are rooted in the past, rigid-minded, dull, and smug. There's no talking to them. It's right to be wrong. Start being wrong and suddenly anything is possible. You're no longer trying to be infallible. You're in the unknown. There's no way of knowing what can happen, but there's more chance of being amazing than if you try to be right. Of course, being wrong is a risk. People worry about suggesting stupid ideas because of what others will think. You will have been in meetings where new thinking has been called for at your original suggestion. Instead of saying that's the kind of suggestion that leads to a novel solution, the room goes quiet. They look up to the ceiling, roll their eyes, and return to the discussion. Risks are a measure of people. People who won't take them are trying to preserve what they have. People who do take them often end up by having more. Some risks have a future and some people call them wrong. But being right may be like walking backwards, proving where you've been. Being wrong isn't in the future or in the past. Being wrong isn't anywhere but here. Best place to be, eh? Okay. So I guess for me, it depends on the situation. So it also depends on the profession. There are some professions where you have to have the experience to back up whatever it is that you're doing currently. So I worked in advertising, but it was more data driven. And so since it was data driven and it was also a call to action type of advertising, the individuals that worked in that realm needed to have the experience that they had working with other brands beforehand, so that they could apply that experience to the situation that they were currently working in. Now, I'm not saying that what he's saying isn't right. I think it just depends on what field you work in, because I totally get you being stuck in the past and being arrogant because of your past experience, and so that closes you off to new ideas because you think to yourself, well, this is what worked in the past and so it's going to work now. And this is what works. We're sticking to the formula that works, and so you're not open to any new ideas or any new formulas that could possibly be a more refreshing solution, or a solution that just works even better. You know, it could be a better machine. But I will say that I think it really just depends on the situation. So I totally see what he's saying. I think this philosophy is applicable to certain situations, but I don't think it fits every scenario. So I work in a very creative industry, and so I think that this would suit my profession and my tasks, but I don't think that this would fit someone who works in computer engineering. Not in every case, maybe some cases, but not in every case. So this is definitely for creatives for sure, but this can be applied to like it says, so this book uses the creative processes of good advertising as a metaphor for business practice. So this is applicable to business practices, but you have to take what you can actually apply to your profession. That's what I'll say about this. But it's interesting that he breaks it down like that. I've never heard anything like that before, and it's just interesting. It's interesting. So now I'm going to dive into What Women Want by Paco Underhill. And I told you guys I want to read about 20 pages of this. So let's get started. Okay, so reading What Women Want, and I'm not loving it. So in this book, he's explaining the role that women play in influencing the market. Only I just find that Paco is doing so much to explain one point. I think I'm calling it a night. I'm only on page 23. I was supposed to get to 38, but I don't think I'm gonna make it